Hey guys, and welcome to Sounds Like NYC episode 58. Our next guest is an actor like Jay-Z is a rapper. He's a businessman whose mediums for art and creation are through acting and film rather than music. You can find him on Instagram at Philly Monster, that's Filly Monster, and 2020 Media Lab. Please welcome Filmon Berhane.
Yeah.
Did I get it right?
Yeah, you got it. You got
Awesome. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
it. Nice to meet y'all. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I suck at names. That's the thing. I shouldn't because I do fucking interviews, but I just suck at names.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you my real proper name because it's Filmon Berhane originally, but just living in America, I think in kindergarten they were like Filmon Berhane, and I just accepted it. But now I want to say it's officially Filmon Berhane.
Berhane.
Yeah, setting it
Gotcha.
straight.
That's a pretty dope name for you to be in videography, no?
Yeah, Filmone in Italian means big movie.
Oh,
Oh.
really?
Yeah, and then Filmon itself means favored by God.
Oh.
Yeah.
Big movies favored by God.
You
dude.
know?
Your destiny is
Yeah, I mean,
over
like,
and out for you, bro. Come
If you
on.
don't make it, that's on you.
Yeah. Oh no, it's destined. I have to.
So how did you first get into videography?
So I kind of wanted to. I mean, I started out with acting, and with acting, I wanted to find something to do with it because I didn't feel like I was just an actor. I was kind of discovering myself and what it meant for me to be an actor. And I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur of some sorts and have a
Right.
business, on the side to fund myself and my life because I never wanted acting to fund my life at all. I don't want to ever take a job because of the money. I'm going to take a job because I want to take the job. And that is my acting, that's my art. You'll never compromise me and my art for money. That's why I have my business. So I can say, suck my dick whenever I want to.
Exactly.
You need to have that power. So when I started thinking about what I wanted in a business, I was thinking about things that I was good at, people I knew, and things I was aware of. And I was already working in restaurants, and I seen how the power of social media. And I had a whole bunch of almost all of my friends were videographers, filmmakers, and I just knew how to talk to people. So I got them together, and we just started, making videos, making content, essentially.
Awesome. Yeah, that's like really cool. Yeah, because I feel like, I guess that's like the thought process of like a lot of creators, kind of like what you love doing and then the job that you need in order to like do what you want to do. But like you found kind of like the perfect middle ground where you're doing something creative that's like bringing in most of the money, but you still get to like, pursue acting and stuff like that. So like congrats on like finding that perfect middle ground.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's sort of like, because like us as a civilization, like the reason why we started doing art, right, is because we didn't really have to care about, hunting as much. We were more towards the, the farming and the gathering aspect of it. And so with that extra time, people were able to, put more time into expressing themselves in art. So I think that speaks to that. I mean, you don't have that sort of, panic, that most artists feel like. So I feel like you have sort of more leeway to sort of do the projects you want and things that you really believe in.
I mean, don't speak for the man himself. I'm sure, because I feel like artists, like we like all have our like insecurities and stuff like that. Like, are you facing any like kind of like insecurity in terms of like your like acting career, like anything like that? If you don't mind talking.
Yeah, I mean, always. I believe, when people look at me or hear me speak and like look at what I do, they're like, oh, he's cocky, he's arrogant and all that. I'm like, bro, I'm filled with insecurities. I am a little boy in the inside, but I will never show you that. I'm always going to combat that until I get so good at combating that I believe it and I am it.
Right.
And then I get to a point where it's like, that little boy died a long time ago and I'm this nigga that I always wanted to be, because I kept on acting like him. Like, like this is a role. I'm just so fucking good at it, that I play it well and I go about it and people believe it and that becomes me. Like I'm playing this role and I do it well of having all this confidence. But when I started, I was not a good actor at all. And I knew that. I was terrible. Oh my God. I was shy. I would get nervous. In the beginning, especially, like I would get these weird like shakes every time I would go in the audition room. I would just like start to like shake. But I'm like, I don't run from anything, you know. When it comes to fight or flight, I'm a fight. So I would fight through that feeling and kind of understand what it was that would make me shake, you know, why I would get nervous, and then just keep on going into it like over and over and over again until I just start getting more comfortable with it. But it takes years of discipline and, you know, just constant work to get to that place. And I always knew that it didn't matter if I was good or not. I knew that I was determined and I was going to make it happen. And I have time and free mind space, you know?
Awesome, yeah.
Do you believe in talent? Or do you
Fuck
feel
talent,
like
man.
hard work is the only way to do it?
Not the only way. So there's definitely necessary talent. Like I have, as an actor, I could not access my talents unless I develop my skills. So I know I have certain talents. When I go out, like I'm very enthusiastic. I'm like the party, you know, I'm out there. I'm a very great person to be around with. But I couldn't do that as an actor because I was just too scared to even act. But I knew like I had certain talents that I could show once I developed the proper skills. But I think most people depend on talent.
Yeah.
And that is, you know, almost, I feel like it just doesn't matter at all, you know. If I were to depend on talent, I would have never done a lot of the things that I've done now, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So like speaking of kind of like talent and just like the shakes of like auditioning and stuff like that. Yeah, so like if you don't mind talking about like what has been like the worst audition process of your life, or like
a lot in the beginning. I mean, because right now I'll say I love to audition. I love to audition more than getting the job. It's a sport to me. It's a game. I look at everybody in the room. I'm like, I'm better than all y'all niggas.
Right.
I'm about to go in and kill this shit. But I come in with that mentality, and I usually do kill it. You know, like I book a lot of fucking roles. I mean, I book a lot of the auditions that I go to. I just have fun doing them. That's why. But the first few years, you know, every single audition, I'm getting the shakes, you know, like if I'm sitting down, the shakes are coming up my spine, up my neck. If I'm standing up, they're jumping up my leg, you know, like just like extreme nervous shakes. Like I'm pretty sure I have to clench my cheeks, you know, just so I don't shit on my pants. That's how bad it is. But I'm like, I'm gonna get through it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, I've been through shit, you know, like this is just another thing to go through, but I'm gonna make it happen because I'm about it, you know, like I speak it into existence and I'm about to be about it too.
Nice.
You think that makes you want it even more? Like just getting it just makes it feel so much better that you have those shakes?
At the time being, it's just chaos.
Yeah.
But I just know in that chaos what I need to do, you know? There's not much thinking to it. It's just, do you run or do you fight? And who I am and where I come from, you know, as, you know, being an Eritrean person, I come from Eritrea, we're very prideful people. You know, we have a crazy underdog story where we won a 30-year war against Ethiopia and Italy, you know, and we're all firstborn generation Americans from that war.
Right.
So we come with that pride and that chip on our shoulder, like, yo, like we are, you know, we're someone to be reckoned with.
Nice. Speaking of like where you came from, like it's very interesting your story. Of course, you're like a first generation American, but you're not even a native New Yorker. Like you came from like Seattle. So like yeah, talk about kind of like life specifically with like your ethnicity being in Seattle. And yeah, so how was life for you as like a young kid and like a teenager over in the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll go just a couple steps back there. My parents were refugees of war and escaped through Sudan, winning a lottery to come to America. And my mother was pregnant with me in Sudan and birthed me in Atlanta, Georgia. Barely, you know. Came with my older sister who was 1 at the time. So here I am, you know, like this American boy born to these African refugees. Like to them, you know, it's like I'm something else. Like there's nothing about me that's like is aware of that. Is like I was born in America. Like that difference and that awareness and that difference just like set me off for like to catapult my life into, you know, thinking I am destined for bigger things, because they treated me like, you know, he's a citizen. Like, you know, like, you know how hard it is for them to get to America, and I'm just born a citizen. Like, that does something to you mentally, you know?
For sure.
So from there, you know, where I was born in Atlanta, they were like, okay, this is crazy. Within a few months, we're in Seattle. There's a lot of African.
No, it's kind of funny because like I kind of joke with my friends, and I think there's like a sort of like joke that kind of like Atlanta is kind of like Black City, you know, and stuff like that. But like you parents went to like probably one of the most whitest places.
Yeah. But you could see of a difference that it made, because like I can't imagine, had I grown up in Atlanta, what kind of person I would have turned out to be. Because I'm like, I have a lot of energy. I would have used that energy towards something. I don't know what it would have been. But coming to Seattle, you know, even going to Seattle, we were in a not so great area. We're in a Section 8 area called High Point. It was kind of like the hood of Seattle, you know, one of the hoods. And I lived my childhood there. And soon they were just like, we cannot raise our kids in this environment. You know, they're going to end up like their environment. So they did a very smart thing and took us to the suburbs, where I was around, I think like around 10 years old. I was around only white kids and like people who had money. And honestly, it really challenged me academically and to really focus and do work, you know, because it was a big change. It was a big difference. And I'm very grateful for that, because of just the ability to get the education that I feel like I wouldn't have gotten had I stayed down there in like West Seattle or South Seattle, you know?
So why'd you move to New York City?
Oh, why not? You know, initially, so I knew I wanted to be an actor, and it was gonna be LA first, of course. You think LA as an actor,
Boo.
But yeah, definitely, boo, fuck that. I'm glad I came out here.
I like
Shit.
this
Wait,
guy.
wait, wait.
I like
Wait,
this
so, like,
guy.
how come? Yeah. So,
Yeah,
like,
no.
because you have like LA just like right underneath you,
Yeah.
and then like New York, which is like literally
Like 3,000
across
miles
the country.
away, yeah.
So a lot of my so around that time I made that decision was when I dropped out of college. You know, I was like, fuck you guys. Like, I could teach myself. Like, you're not better than me, and I can do more on my own. And then, you know, just something tragic happened at that time. And I feel like when you're faced with tragedy, you have to make drastic decisions, you know?
Yeah.
You either falter and like succumb in a corner and, you know, just basically become pathetic, or you rise to the occasion. And I'm always going to rise to the occasion. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to, you know, blah, 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 whoop-de-whoop. And LA was first, but it was like around 2011, 2012, and Empire State of Mind came out.
Oh, yeah.
Jay-Z and Alicia Keys.
Yep.
And it just kept on like ringing in the back of my head, and just really got into my subconscious. And you know, like that line, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, you know, concrete jungle where dreams are made of. Like, that really resonated with me. So I made my whole game plan now to go to New York, get near Jay-Z somehow, like, you know, and just learn from them. And then from there, you know, just be the best that I can be. And then from there, do whatever I need to do, you know. But it was just chaotic. I didn't know what I was going to learn and like find out and like go through. But I was like, fuck it. I just know I need to go out into the unknown and slay the fucking dragon. That's what I'm going to do.
Wow. Yeah. Like I said this in like another podcast, I think, but like New York has like great PR. Like, you know, no other city in the world. There's like all these songs and like, you know, famous people and stuff like that. And for you to be so inspired by just... For you to be inspired, you know, so like greatly by just that song is really like a testament to that. Like, yeah. So like, talk about kind of like your first few months to like a year in like New York City. Like,
Did it
what was
live
like
up to
the
the
toughest
hype?
thing for you transitioning from like, you know, Seattle and like the suburbs of like Seattle to like New York City?
Pure panic. I was scared as shit. I've never been to New York. I've never really been out on my own like that. I mean, I did move out from home like when I was 18 and stuff, but I was always close to home. I can always get food. Like, that's always a safety net, you know? This is different. I was like, oh God. I got off my plane and I had somewhere to stay for a few hours. And I remember just heading straight to an interview right off the plane in sneakers and a suit. I was too scared to even get on the subway.
Wow.
That's how, like people see like how confident I am now. I was scared to get on the fucking subway. I was like, this is crazy. And went to my interview, and then I remember the guy who interviewed, it was a security job, you know? Like, I started from the bottom here. I was making $7.25 when I got here.
Right.
Shit. And the guy was like, he was like, I thought your flight was today. I was like, I just got off the plane a couple hours ago. He's like, and you're here for your interview? I was like, I just need a job. I was scared. He was like, man, come get this boy a job. I was like, but from there, you know, like I was like, I'm not here to work security, you know. So like very quickly, while I was working security, I started, you know, going to bartending school, learning how to bartend, because I was like, I gotta go work at the 40/40 Club. I was like, I gotta get near the people that mentorship was big to me. I knew how powerful it was and how little things that big people can do for you, you know, make a big difference. So I was like, I don't know, I just got to go to the 40/40 Club and work there. And I had this whole like game plan and layout, but I was like, fuck it one time, and I just after passing bartending school, it was pretty damn good too. I would go to the 40/40 Club, and I'm just like, you know, I wanted the job. And a month and a half of going back, getting back, they finally hired me.
Awesome.
They didn't want me at first. I had no experience and such, but I memorized the menu. I told them, I was like, why can't I get the job? Like, I'm probably faster than, like, I'm telling the, you know, the bartender, looking at the bartender, I'm probably faster than them. You know, I'm probably better. Like, I'm enthusiastic, I'm bad at, you know, and they were impressed in the beginning, but I had to meet, you know, the GM, and then I had to meet like the owner, and I had to meet, you know, these people, and then they had to like test me, you know. I was always about it, always with it every time I came back. So like finally, you know, they just had to put me on the floor, and then from there, like, you know, again, scared shitless. I couldn't even go to my first table. I was too scared. I had to have somebody walk with me and go to it. Wow. Now, when I go to any restaurant that I ever want to work with, like I feel like I'm one of the best, you know, and I can walk up to anybody and do it. But I'm like, I understand so well that you need to jump in the fire and get burnt and feel it in order to get good at it, you know, and fuck that talent, you know. I'm gonna develop these skills one way or another. The skills I want to, because if I don't want to do it, I will not do it. Right. That's like the other half of that is that I understand myself and my laziness by like what the things I want to do and things I don't want to do.
Gotcha. Awesome. I think right now would be a good time to sort of just plug in a little bit of the video sense, just a little bit about your work on 2020 Media Lab, right?
Yeah.
So let's plug it in and we'll get back.
Awesome.
All right.
Boop.
Your restaurant is unique. Its setting, its menu, its story. But to consumers online, your restaurant disappears into the background noise of online menus and generic websites. How do you stand out? How do you get heard? With 2020 Media Lab. We specialize in using video to bring the heart and soul of NYC's hottest restaurants to life. Customers don't just want to know what's on the menu. They want to feel what it's like to be in your restaurant. They want to know who's in the kitchen, their story, and their passion. And of course, they want to see what it's like when that food is finally set down in front of them for them to enjoy. The team at 2020 Media Lab works with you to learn your story so we can tell it as accurately as possible to the world. From strategy to production and editing through to final delivery, 2020 Media Lab takes care of it all. Customers can then see your food, your restaurant, your chefs, your story on your social media platforms, your website, and wherever else you so choose. Don't get lost in the crowd. Your restaurant is unique. Let us help you tell your story. Contact us today.
All right, guys, welcome back to Sounds Like NYC. So yeah, tell us a little bit about 2020 Media Lab.
Yeah, so I started 2020 Media Lab, I want to say 2016 to 2017. I had an opportunity around that time. I had like my first big break in acting. I had a national commercial for Delta Airlines, which was it was huge.
Can we see you on it? Like,
yeah, so it's hella funny because
I'm gonna look it up.
There's like 10 people who do the commercial, and the director really looked out for me, and then he was like, "Hey, yo, bro, every time you do your scene, just say something." I was like, "But say what?" He's like, "I don't know, like, what's up, man?" Or like, you know, say something like that. I was like, "All right, man, I got you." And then so you can see in the commercial, I come in, I'm the only one with the line aside from Viola Davis.
What's the name of it specifically?
Delta 4 a.m.
Oh,
I found it.
Yeah.
We're just watching it right now.
Yeah. No, yeah, we can talk about it though.
Explain more about it.
Yeah. It's like midway through where you just see me pop in. But Yeah, and I didn't understand why he wanted me to do that, and so I ended up getting a line in that. And so when you get residuals for these commercials, you get paid for being seen and for speaking. So this motherfucker made sure I got paid for this shit. Yeah. And then Viola Davis is the voice actress in this commercial, and she won an Oscar right after it gets released. So they're playing the fuck out of this commercial.
Can you see him?
Hey, what's up, man?
Oh, that's you? Wow, that's
Damn,
so
and
cool.
that thing is what sort of
Yeah, so
gave
that
you
got me a lot of
the
fucking
capital,
money.
yeah.
And with that, so I mean, I feel like with that, you know, I had all the money that I wanted at the time. I had the accolades, you know, people hitting me up like all over, like, oh my God, I saw your commercial, like this and that. I'm like, oh my God, this is what I wanted. Fuck no, depression, bad. It was like I feel like who came into my mind, like Jim Carrey saying that I hope everybody gets everything that they want and see that it's not that, you know. And then so I went through like a whole bunch of just like chaotic, depressive, anxiety, panic attack moods, you know, for a few months until where I like had to figure out something.
Why?
And just because that is the reason why I did everything. I wanted the money, the accolades, the acting. Like that's what I wanted. That's what everything meant to me, and I got it, and I felt nothing. It satisfied such a shallow part of my heart that it almost killed me. You know, It was bad. It was fucking bad, and I was like, oh my God, this is not worth shit. And I was pretty depressed. Like when I got into the act, like when I was 19 and came to New York, like I came from a very depressed state. So that got me out of it. And like I was chasing that whole thing, and then like I get that thing that got me out of depression. And like, it wasn't it. So I understood then that I need to find something that had meaning and offer responsibility. And so I started my business, and just, there was a lot of, you know, just starting a business takes a lot. And within that, it got hyper focused, and it got into more of a niche to where it is now. And where it is now is that I specifically interview Black restaurateurs, chefs, people in the food and beverage industry to highlight them and kind of give them a platform to show what they do in a kind of docuseries.
Right.
Because I believe that representation is important. And I love that I do that. And I love what I do. And it makes me happy. And I get the enjoyment out of just what I do. And everything else is just like an extra now, you know? And same with the acting. Every job that I take now and all the projects that I'm working on have to do with helping my people, my community. And it just has so much meaning now, and it's so fulfilling that I'm in such a great place, you know? And it's just been so chaotic to get to that place, and I always believe it's chaos before order.
Yeah, tell us more about the interview series. It sounds really, really interesting. We've been planning on doing something like that too, but it's a lot
Please
of
give
moving
us some
parts.
pointers. Yeah.
So, I mean, where
Yeah.
the business was a year ago was
Type in
in
notes.
the business a year ago. So what we wanted to do is basically, so when you go to a restaurant, you know, I personally want to see the menu and the food visually. I want to see little videos, snippets. I'm like, I need to see this because I'd hate to order something off the menu that is just words and something else passes by me. I'm like, no, I actually want that. I've been a server for years, and I've seen this many, many times. I'm like, God damn it, if we just had fucking videos of the fucking food, I wouldn't need to fucking talk this much to these I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like, I had a great time with these guests, but I'm like, okay, we're not friends. I'm just here to take your order, really. Just get it done. But I felt like alleviated so much. So we wanted to create a new system to where when you go to a restaurant, you would just see food footage of their stuff, and you see the ambiance. You would see the chef. You know, you get the story through video. And we wanted to set that up, but that's a longer process. And right now, with the whole Black Lives Matter movement, I sat down and really tried to think of how I can help the cause. Because I'm not the guy, you're not going to see me at a protest. You're not going to see me like yelling, oh my God, this is unfair. I'm about action, you know? I'm going to make shit happen. Like, I'm going to do shit. That's me. There's other people, great, they play their part.
Right.
I'm going to play my part, and I know exactly who I am. I have enough self-awareness to understand what I can do and what I'm going to do and what I want to do. I'm not going to do anything I don't want to do. And so after talking with my team for maybe a month and applying for a 501c, which is basically become a nonprofit,
Right.
accept funds to do that, we were accepted. And now we want to go around America interviewing Black people in the restaurant industry and the food and beverage. So like, wineries. Did you know that Brooklyn Brewery, the brewmaster is a Black guy?
Really?
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Dude, speaking of which, like, isn't their main
Close by
factory
here.
like it's
Yeah,
in
somewhere around
Williamsburg.
here.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
Oh, it's right here?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Dude, we should go one
Oh,
day.
I think
I'll be down to go.
it's on Kent. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's on Kent. Yeah, it's like super close, like a 5-minute
yeah.
walk from here. Yeah, that's really cool.
Say
yeah,
less.
Yeah. So like, speaking of kind of like current events, obviously, the big C word has affected. Oh, my mic is on okay. Yeah, so sorry about that. So the big C word has affected everybody in different ways. So like, how has COVID kind of like affected the way that you're doing the nonprofit? Because obviously, everybody's eating outside now and stuff like that, and like restaurants are like in crisis mode and stuff like that. So like.
So we, because COVID, we almost had to completely shut down. We cannot do what we do with COVID around and with restaurants not making any money. We're more like a luxury service, honestly. And I'm not going to try to charge people for what we do, especially in these times. But I tried to find a way where I could be an asset and help. Like, I'm not going to just sit there and be like, oh, can't do work. I'm not going to do work. Niggas can't afford me. Niggas can't afford me. I'm still going to find something to do something. Like, at the end of the day, I do it for meaning, And I don't do, the money needs to come in, definitely. But it's not why I do it. So that's where it got in I got into deep in thought of like, how am I going to flip this, and adjust it. And for COVID, because we don't know how long this is really going to last. I'm like, I just can't be out of business for all this time, So we kind of figured that aspect out of the business, which is like, I really want to focus on more now, because I'm like, God, this has so much meaning, and I love doing this. And everybody that I get to interview is like people that we personally choose. There's a lot of restaurants and a lot of places where I'm like, no, you guys were assholes to me. I'm not going to interview your chef because I don't want to, versus some places where I'm like, you don't know me, but I know that they fucking kill it. And like, I saw them, do something. I'm like, I really want to go out and interview them. It's my choice, that's what I love about, having the freedom to do that.
Awesome,
But I think like when COVID hit, I was really focused more on the acting part, because it goes back and forth, am I an actor right now? Am I a businessman? Am I an entrepreneur? So like, I got to play these different hats and make sure that when I'm in a role, like I'm in it, and not dispersing myself too thinly.
For sure. I mean, what do you feel like next year's going to be like?
Next year's gonna be fucking crazy. I feel like that's gonna be the time where people are like, oh, you came. I feel like a lot of things are gonna happen for me personally. A lot of the things that, this is kind of, it's been almost 9 years since I've been in New York. This is my tenure, I feel like a lot of the things that I've done in the past 10 years will come into fruition now. And I'll probably pop out like, people thought I came out of nowhere. I'm like, no, motherfucker, I've been working, I've been doing this shit for a while, this is nothing new to me, and I have a story to tell.
Awesome.
I'm a lot. Like we've been talking, like a lot of things that if they hit, they'll hit big are happening right now. And I had all these things happening before the Black Lives Matter movement. And when something like that happens, it's kind of like we get an extra push as an artist. It's like if I was trying to sell a film before the Black Lives Matter movement happened, I have a much better chance now. If I was trying to book a role or try to do certain things, as an artist, you just have a lot more opportunities. And I'm not gonna, I don't know what. Yeah, we don't have to go. I don't know why specifically. Like, I'm not gonna say what the other side how they look into it, or whether it's like they feel guilty or they're just really trying to help.
Yeah,
I really don't care. I'm just like, there's more work for us now.
That's all you care about. I mean,
be
that's all
ready,
you should
be
care
prepared,
about.
and get that shit.
Any opportunity you can get, you got to jump on.
Yeah. But one thing specifically I want to add to that is that I want to make sure that we're putting out quality work.
Right.
Because not every Black business is a good business. I want to make sure that we're holding each other accountable, that we're doing quality stuff all the time. That's something I feel like I should always add into, because it, we feel like we can just go in and like I deserve. It's like, no, what work did you put in for this?
Yeah.
Who are you? Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Speaking of like kind of like excellent black businesses, like what are some of your favorite black-owned like restaurants or businesses within the city?
So I just interviewed a chef in Brooklyn, Chef Romeo Regali. He owns with his wife Ross Plant Based in Brooklyn. Amazing.
Which part of Brooklyn?
It's in Flatbush.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So it's a
It's a good college right over there.
Yeah.
plant-based Ethiopian cuisine. So this is the food that we kind of grew up in our whole lives, but it's plant-based now. It's healthy, delicious. Just great person, great vibes. That's a great one. And that was the first person I chose him specifically, because he's probably one of my favorite restaurateurs in the city. And that was like, I was like, my first interview, I got to be comfortable. I got to be somewhere where I really, it hits home. And so that's, a really big one for me. Did you say?
Or like businesses, like
Yeah.
black-owned businesses or restaurants? Or?
Yeah, I mean, another restaurant, Sweet Chick.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, is it black though?
Nas,
Is the one over here?
Nas has ownership, and I don't know if he's fully owns it, but I know
Really?
Nas owns.
The one on Bedford?
And there's one on Lower East Side.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Interesting. Yeah, there's one right here, like in Williamsburg, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But as far as that, like I think big, I think large scale. Like I try to get next to the Kings. So, again, I worked at 4040 Club. I just try to get near and like I just try to hear Jay-Z's conversations. Like just how he went about himself. I was like, okay, that's confirmation that I could still be a good person and humble and like still be the best at my shit. But and still, his friends are around him. Like he did it so well, and his wife is Beyonce. I'm like, God, he did it very well.
Yeah.
People like, I would work at hot restaurants where I would be if it was like. Robert Smith came in one day, the black billionaire, and then I was like, I gotta serve him, and they're like, well, of course, like you're the only black kid, like you gotta serve him.
We send the token out. Over
Yeah, but
we
I'm like,
send it for a tribute, of course.
I remember that one specifically too because it was when Mayweather was fighting Pacquiao. And then I was really entertaining him, having a great time, and just really listening to what he had to say to his people, and just putting them on as he's putting his people onto game. I'm like, this is free game for me. I'm like, what can I get you to order? Like, okay, what did he say though? Damn. But yeah, I remember there were servers at that restaurant who were like, why would you just put the black guy on the black guy? Just, I'm like, they're like, we're more seasoned servers. We should be the one serving the billionaire, And then it's like, the manager like, just trust me, And at the end of it, he ended up giving me like $2,000 tip.
Wow.
And then
Nice.
they were like, this is why we give him to him, And like they're like, there's just an understanding that you just cannot get, I'm like, I entertained the fuck out of him. Like, I was doing these little Mayweather moves and like just chopping it up with them and like, like I talk shit with the guests. Like I'm not a normal server, I'm not an order taker. Like I'm there for the entertainment, like make sure. People just have a good time. That's what it's about at the end of the day. You're not there to eat. You want to have a good time. Girls want to feel beautiful. Guys want to feel like they're men, You gotta, once you figure that out, everything else is easy.
That's so cool.
For sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, what do you want to leave with?
Man, people just be good to each other, man. Honestly, there's a lot of anger and like hate going around and
What are you
just.
looking at me for?
I gotta be good to
Now
you.
the thing is like, 'cause don't get me wrong, I'm very competitive, and I'll come after a motherfucker. I'll come after your throat, easy. But I'll do it in a nice way. If I want you to be better, I'm gonna come after your throat, in a way that I feel like is gonna make you better. If I know clearly you don't want to be better, you won't. Honestly, I don't need to be around you, So I want to leave off, I guess, with be tough, but be nice.
I like that.
Great, yeah. Great words to live by.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was
Thank
a
you.
pleasure.
Yeah,
Awesome.
appreciate it. Yeah.